Welcome to the NBTLT podcast with your guides to this magical journey, Lon and Zumi.
Welcome to another episode of the NBTLT podcast. I'm Lonnie, and I'm here with fucking Zumi, and this is the only podcast where we give advice, but we make no promises. How you doing, Zumi?
That was pretty exciting.
Thought I'd kick it up a notch. Like Emerald.
It sounded like when they have like those amateur castings, you know?
Yeah.
Because do you remember True Romance? Like when Michael Rappaport is
Yes.
auditioning, and he's like,
I'm driving.
Shoot him!
Get him!
Get him!
You should do the intro in Spanish, but like in like soccer announcer like voice.
Oh, dude, I can't.
Come
do
on,
that.
just give it a shot, dude.
No, I can't do that. I've tried, and it just doesn't.
You know,
work
fuck
for
it.
me.
You're useless. So how you doing, Zumi?
Okay,
Holy shit, we're gonna have this build up, and you're gonna be just okay.
just okay.
Just okay.
Had a pretty shitty week, man.
Yeah. We'll explain it.
Well, I told you about this because I couldn't wait because it was just a fucking shitty thing to happen, but I got rear-ended.
Yes. And I'm sure that was fucking awesome, right?
No, it wasn't. It was at a
Very
Walmart.
far from awesome.
It was at a Walmart parking lot out of all fucking places.
It's always at a Walmart parking lot.
And the ironic part was that, well, I drive a Nissan Altima, right, a 2008.
Queer.
I got hit by another Nissan Altima, except this was a 2015, and you know, I guess they're doing their Nissan Altimas like
a little
you know,
stronger.
Stronger because like her car didn't have a fucking dent or scratch or any signs that it just hit another car.
And you look like you got
mine-
hit by a cement truck.
Yeah, mine it has a fucking dent on the passenger, or not the passenger, the driver's side, the back end, and it just looks horrible.
Yeah.
But
That blows.
but I mean, like the lady was nice. She was like I'm sorry, like I have a camera and everything, and I didn't see you. I just backed up. I'm like, well, I've never been in an accident before, so I guess I'll get your insurance and I'll give you mine and see what's up. And yeah, it's
fucked.
it sucked. And then, you know, I come home to Mexico and my fucking refrigerator's not working. So all of the meats that I had in there just rotten.
So I can't prank phone call you now and be like,
No,
is your refrigerator running?
no.
Oh, well, you should get a new one.
I'm working on it.
Yeah, that's not cool.
So I had to throw away all the food that was in the refrigerator.
Yeah. Well, you
So-
did actually just do something that should have made you a little happy.
I did.
Yeah.
I've been watching a lot of movies because my family's on vacation.
Mine as well.
So I'm doing a lot of the I guess the single life, the lonely man single life.
Yeah, it's not a pretty sight.
No, I mean it's not like you can just like do some blow or something like that.
Yeah, it's being alone is not as fun as you think it might be after you've been married for a while. It's kind of like, you know, you think it's going to be fun. Like you, as a guy, you're like, oh, you know, like nobody's going to be around. I can do whatever I want. And then you wake up and you're like, I should really get the laundry done and maybe get the dishes done, you know, do some homework. Yeah.
Yeah, it's you know, to me it's kind of weird because every time my family goes on like a vacation or something like that, or you know, they take the kids for like a couple of hours or whatever.
Yeah.
It just feels like time goes fucking slow,
Yeah.
and like I should be doing something productive, but you can only crank up so many push-ups, you know?
Yeah.
And like afterwards it's like, okay, so I guess I'll watch some porn or something, and that only lasts like a couple minutes, right?
Yeah. Sure, why not?
And then
I wouldn't know.
I can't go. I honestly I can't go back to video games. Like I
Really?
feel like I'm wasting. I feel like I'm wasting my time.
Well,
like
you are.
I actually thought about hooking up my PlayStation 3 now that my kids are not here, and I'm like, well, I haven't done it in the past 2 weeks, so why would I do it now? Like they're coming home in like a couple of days.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, like video games are not. I don't have that interest that I used to have, like, you know, a couple of years ago. I would still play a Silent Hill game though if it would have come out.
Yeah.
But you know, I guess like the modern thing to do now is to just go on YouTube and watch somebody else play them, like PewDiePie or something.
Yeah,
somebody like.
Although, you know, I will say, have you ever gone to Twitch and just
No.
watched the live streaming of people playing video games? That's actually a lot more interesting than you think it'd be.
Is that the one where they get donations?
Yeah.
And they do like tricks and hacks and stuff to like they do speed runs.
Well, yeah, that's part of some of the channels, you know, but most of it
I've seen
is,
a couple of them.
yeah, most of it is just, you know, these guys playing video games and you're just watching their screen. But some of it's actually really fun, like especially when they do like the competitions and stuff, or the championships of a certain game. You know, the one that's actually really cool to watch is Rocket League, and watch their championships. That's actually really fun. You know, because it's almost like watching a real sport, but you know, especially when football's not happening right now. There's not a whole lot going on. We did just have the Hall of Fame game with the Cardinals and the Cowboys. That was our first bit of actual football for the season. But I mean, it's not even a real game. It's less than a preseason game, you know. But it's still something. But
was it fun?
Yeah,
I didn't see it.
I only watched a portion of it. I was at work because it happened on Thursday night at 5:00, and I don't take my lunch till after 6, so I was only able to watch like parts of the second half. And
So isn't that technically dinner?
yeah, but that's my lunchtime because I'm a swing shift guy.
So it'll be dinner time.
Why do you have to play semantics with me? Why do you
I
gotta do
don't know.
this?
I'm
Gotta
just
be an
asking.
asshole. You gotta be an asshole.
I'm just asking.
Ugh.
I'm like you, Lonnie, but I just ask questions.
Well, I want to tell people how much you and I are like total friends that, you know, act like little girls. How long did we talk on Skype last night?
It was like 3 hours and 20 minutes.
Isn't that pathetic?
No,
It was fun though, wasn't it?
I don't think so. I don't think it was pathetic.
I got tired though.
But I do think if you were a female and I was a guy, I'd totally be like in the friend zone.
Am I out of your league?
It would keep doing shit like that, making you talk for 3 hours and like, oh, I understand you. Don't worry about it. He's such a dick for not liking you.
I love you like my brother, Sue.
You're like, oh. Oh,
Have you-
have you ever seen that video? Like now that you mentioned that, have you ever seen that video with Mark Anthony and J-Lo?
Okay, weren't they married at one time?
They were married one time, right? But there's a video of them like already like post divorce or whatever, and Mark Anthony's getting an award, and J-Lo comes in J-Lo hands him the award, right, and gives him a kiss, like in the mouth, and the whole crowd is going like, "Whoa!" And they're cheering and shit. And Mark Anthony just goes like, "Oh, well, no, I mean, you know, it's just like kind of like a friendship kiss type thing. You know, I
Aw.
will always love her. You know, like a sister. And when he says like a sister, Taylor's eyes just fucking open up. Like,
Like,
what the
dude, you got
fuck?
burned in the harshest way in front of all these people.
I was like, that's what you get, you gold digging whore.
Yeah. You know, I don't like Jennifer Lopez at all. Like, at all. As an actress, as a singer, I just cannot fucking stand her.
Not even as a piece of meat.
No, I don't even think she's that good looking.
She has a really ginormous butt, though.
Yeah, I don't know what the fascination with giant butts is, but,
Oh, I do.
okay. Wait, you like Kim Kardashian's ass?
I do. I do like
Wow.
her butt.
You just lost a whole lot of respect.
Why? Like, it's a physical part that I like. I'm
It's
sorry.
disgusting.
But I switch over. You know how like there's people that they're like some of them are butt oriented, others are like booby oriented. I switch.
Some are hands, like me.
Yeah, sometimes I like them big, sometimes I like them small.
I love hands.
Like sometimes I like the heart shape butts. You know.
You like all the different types of nipples?
Sometimes I like the bubble butts. Not all type of nipples. Like that's where I draw the line.
No, you like the braille nipples, right?
What's the braille nipples?
You know, like where they get the little, the little pokies,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But if they have like where the areola, I guess that's what they call it, with the nipple almost like they're like fusion together.
Oh, you mean
Not for
ghost nipples?
Yeah, not
Yeah.
for me.
Oh, okay.
Not for me. No,
All right.
Not for me.
How did we get here?
I don't know. Just throw me a scroll, I'm gonna chase it.
Okay. Well, you just got done watching something as well.
Yes.
Now,
Just
explain your experience, please.
So,
While I sit
guess
here and drink whiskey.
I guess a spoiler alert is in hand.
Sure, why not?
I watched John Wick 2 finally,
Mm-hmm.
and that movie was fucking awesome.
Of course, right? It was everything you expected, right?
Yeah, I mean it's just sit down. You don't have to like worry about the plot. It's just Keanu Reeves killing like 1,000 guys with
An army.
their hands. And I kind of like, I even kind of like his suit. Like his suit is
Dude, this suit is fucking awesome. Is it like stab proof?
I don't know, but it was bulletproof too, because I saw him like shield himself with the suit, and I was like, wait, what happened? And I just remember that the technician fixing my refrigerator was here, so I missed the part where they explained that the suit is like Kevlar or something.
Did you go
heavier.
back and watch it?
No, I didn't. I don't do that. I was like, okay, it's like the theater.
It's a really
I
good
missed it.
scene. It's a really good scene, but I love in that movie how if they didn't get ridiculous, like of course it's ridiculous already because it's John Wick, right? But
Right.
what they didn't do is they didn't like expound on that and like try to make it even more outrageous, and to try to like appeal to people that wanted more. It's like that's not really what people want. Like I'm trying to think of a movie where it just gets more and more. Oh well, Jurassic Park. Like,
Yeah.
you have Jurassic Park, and then it just gets a little bit more ridiculous. Then you got like Lost World, where they end up taking the fucking T-Rex to the city, and that thing's just going around the city. And then you get to 3,
Not
where
just
it's
any
just
city.
fucking stupid.
It was not just any city.
San Diego.
It was San Diego.
which of course in German means a whale's vagina. What they did do that I liked that they did expound on is that secret underground world of like assassins and stuff, like where they all have like
Right.
different codes and stuff, and they have their own currency with the gold coins and everything. But the cool one I thought was what did they call it? Like John Wick had like a pennant or something.
Oh, I just watched
It was like a
this too.
life debt.
Yeah, it's they have like a special seal, and it's pretty much kind of like you owe me a favor,
Yeah.
and I can claim I can claim it whenever I want, and you have to do whatever it is that I want.
And then the other guy signs it, or like with his blood or whatever, once you're done with the task. And
Yeah.
no, it's pretty cool. I like the second one. The first one still has a special place in my heart, though, just because of the one-liners and everything. You know, the whole unknown around John Wick was just so badass in the first one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's the best character that Keanu Reeves can play. You know, it's one that doesn't talk.
You didn't like 47 Ronin?
No.
Or Point Break? Dude,
What's up, brah?
Point Break is still a good movie. Now,
Yeah. Well, Patrick Swayze makes that movie. I mean, it's
you don't
if
think
it was-
Gary
if it was-
Busey makes that movie?
no. If there was anybody else other than Patrick Swayze, I don't think I would have liked that movie
Utah.
growing up. You know.
Get me too.
Utah? Me too.
Yeah. Well, what other movies were we watching? You had watched something that I haven't got to see yet. What was it? You were asking.
Planet of the Apes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, I went.
Oh, it's right here. It's right here.
One of my friends invited me to the theater, and we went and watched Planet of the Apes. And I had told him that I mean, after the Tim Burton Planet of the Apes, I was kind of like, no more.
Yeah.
Like, and I guess this one, I haven't seen part 1 and 2, and I was like, man, I don't think I want to go. Like, I don't want to go see part 3, and I don't know, like, what this movie's about. And already, like, I was, like, a little skeptical because I hate when they fucking steal, like, George A. Romero's, like, titles, right?
Yeah. For
So
real.
he has Night of the Living Dead, and then Dawn of the Dead,
Yeah.
Day of the Dead, Land of the Dead, and so this is like Planet of the Apes, and then it's like Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and then it's like now it's like War of the Planet of the Apes. I'm like, come on, guys, like why don't you just fucking call it Planet of the Apes 1, 2, and 3, and then just be
Because they have to be
like,
creative. It's just like our episode titles. We have to put something.
yeah, but at least ours are relevant. Jesus Christ.
Wow.
It's not like we're doing a movie, you know? It's not like this is a movie today right now and tomorrow is a sequel of it's a brand new episode. Like if you have a brand new episode, then yeah, by all means title it. And even like TV series do that shit where they call it's a title and then part 1, title part 2, and then the next episode it's a different title,
Yeah.
you know? But anyways, there's it's funny because like I'm like, well, I don't know, I'm gonna feel lost because I don't know what's going on. And he's like, my friend's like, oh, don't worry about it, like you'll be fine. Let's just go. And at the beginning, they give you like 5 minutes of just reading.
You're like, oh,
and
okay.
And it's so
I got
stupid
homework.
because within the portions that you're reading, it's like it was saying that it has all the titles of the movies within the writing that you're reading, right?
Yeah.
So it's like something they're like explaining like the apes were started a rebellion and it became a dawn of something. So they
Oh,
they
God.
highlight dawn so that you can remember. Oh yeah, part 2 was called Dawn of the Planet of the Apes or whatever. And then they mentioned the and then it's like, oh, and all this conflict started a war and highlighted war because it's War of the Planet of the Apes.
It's
kind
like
of like
fourth grade reading assignment.
yeah, kind of like you get it, So, but in 5 minutes they gave me the recap of part 1 and part 2. So my friend just goes like, "See, that's all you need to know." I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'm down then. Like, should be good." And the movie was all right. It was definitely better than what I was expecting. And there's this one like brilliant scene in this movie that I think it's a lot of people are gonna go like, oh, what the fuck? Like, how come nobody like sees this little girl or whatever? But spoiler alert, I guess. So a couple of things I liked is they mentioned Cornelius.
Yeah.
So if you've seen Planet of the Apes or Escape from the Planet of the Apes, you will know that Cornelius is one of the apes that helps the main character. I can't remember his name. In the original 1968,
Yep.
and on an Escape from Planet of the Apes, I think he has the main role, right?
Yes.
So you see a baby Cornelius, and I thought that was cool. They tied it in with the original,
Yeah.
and they explain, you know how humans don't talk in the original one?
Yeah.
They explain that as well.
Okay.
So
Did
so
they just
I
take speech from him, like make it illegal or something?
no, no, no. I thought it was something like that, like the apes just kept them like slaves, but no, it's the virus that's killing humanity
Yeah.
is mutating. So adults, kids, nobody's exempt. It can just trigger it at any point, and they just lose speech
That sucks.
and some cognitive uh, functions. So I was like, oh, okay, like that's a good way to tie it up. It wasn't like they got oppressed or something.
So what you're telling me is that the whole thing, because it ties into the original Planet of the Apes series, the whole thing for humans is inevitable.
Yes, like they're like Woody Harrelson's character has a little speech where he explains like what's happening, like as far as like evolution and stuff, and why he wants to kill all of the apes. It's not because they can't live in peace. It's because he's like, no. See, the thing is, like, we've been trying to alter nature since we discovered technology and all that stuff, and you guys are stronger, you're faster, and fuck's sake, like you're almost smarter than us. Like you are the next step in evolution. You are the destruction of humanity in a way. It's like I can't let that happen. So you really can't feel bad for the humans, but you also can't feel bad for the apes.
It's just a fucked up situation.
Correct. It just depends on which side you were born, I guess. But
Yeah.
but humans do some fucked up shit to the apes. So, but anyways, there's this scene where they have all the apes as prisoners, right? And it's like a concentration camp. It looks like a fucking concentration camp. It's like you watching a like World War II movie.
Okay. So Schindler's
But,
List with apes.
something like that, right? And there's this little girl that the apes pick up in their travelers, and she doesn't speak, right? She doesn't have the speech, and so the monkeys are teaching her how to do like American Sign Language
Yeah.
and stuff, so they can kind of communicate with her. But she decides on one night she just fucking goes to the cages, and she's gonna feed the apes. And she's just it's brilliant because like she doesn't talk, right? So she's just walking around. She picks up the food, takes it to the apes, grabs some water, takes them to the apes, and they're just playing this music, like this like low tone or whatever, and just gets you in a warm fuzzy human feeling, kind of like there's like there's a human there. It shows you like your human factor in the eyes of a little girl.
Yeah.
And my friend was like whispering in my ear. She's saying like, "Oh, come on! Like the fucking camp is full of people, like guards and stuff, and nobody sees this little girl like giving them food." And I'm like, no, dude. Like this scene is brilliant because what it's saying is the adults are they're so blinded by the war and by like the apes that they don't even see the innocence of this little girl. Like they don't even see like like the kindness that she's showing. It's like non-existent to them anymore.
Yeah.
So to me that's like one of the most brilliant scenes I've ever seen in cinema. Because she's just walking around like, and she's invisible. Like you could have, I'm pretty sure like you could have put a soldier right in front and he would have looked like straight up and never looked down to like the child's level.
Wow.
I don't know. I thought it was a pretty deep scene. I loved it, and just for that scene, it was like worth it. Like
Okay.
it could have
Well,
it
I'll
could have
have to
been
watch it now
it
because
could
I've
have
seen
been
the other two.
it could have been really really shitty, and I would just by that scene I would have been like, it redeems itself just by that one scene.
Yeah. Well, the only problems I had with the first movie and the second movie, well, like with the first movie, the problem that I had was
James Franco.
no, he was fine. He really was. He was fine in the movie. I really don't think James Franco is a bad actor.
I don't either. I love him.
I think he's actually pretty talented, but the thing that annoyed me is that it's just like every other movie that has that type of theme, was that the apes have some correlation with civil rights.
Oh, yeah.
And then they add that factor into it, and they want to remind you, of things. It's like, you don't need that. You just make the movie. You can have that, but you don't have to shove it down people's throats. It's kind of like the thing that you were talking about with Interstellar, where they always have to explain to you, time warps and traveling at the speed of light, or
yeah,
crossing a plane, whatever. It's the same thing. It's like they always have to do the same explanation. Well, with this, they always have to do the same civil rights bullshit. It's like, it's just a movie. We know this. Just move on. But I mean, the rest of it was okay. I always liked Caesar's character.
Yeah, I like I said, I that's all I knew about Planet of the Apes, is that the main ape name was Caesar, and that's it.
Yeah, and Caesar, I don't know what he's like in the third one, but I know in the first two, because of his previous owner, or at least I guess you could call him like protector, James Franco, was really kind to him, loved him, and he has a certain view of humans because of him, that the other apes don't have. And I don't know what he's like in the third one. I know that
he's not in the third one. I think he's not even in the second one, right?
Oh, he's in the second one.
Oh, is he? Well, I guess he's like killed off screen because he's not in the third one.
Oh, maybe I don't remember in the second one he might have been killed. But either way, this is how much I cared about him. But I mean, they were pretty good. I'll have to see the third one. I don't understand, like, if Caesar's not in this one, like, who's in charge? They still have the orangutan though, right?
No, Caesar is there. Caesar's the main character.
Oh, you thought I was talking about James Franco?
No, Caesar is the monkey. Ape.
Yeah, but
James Franco is not.
That's not who I was talking about. I was talking about Caesar.
You said James Franco. You said Franco.
I'm sorry.
I think so.
Either way,
I'll hit replay, I guess. I don't know.
But no, it was good. James Franco's not in the second one. No.
So he gets killed off screen.
I don't remember exactly what happened to him. But
he got AIDS because he wanted to fuck an ape.
Yeah, he got AIDS. That's how it started, people. That's how AIDS began. Some brave motherfucker decided to grab hold of a chimpanzee and go to town, which is a dangerous thing to do.
You've tried?
Yes, many times, and it doesn't work. So, are you caught up with Game of Thrones?
I am caught up with Game of Thrones.
And how you feeling about?
Oh, are we switching? I thought you still had a point to make on Planet of the Apes.
No, I was just gonna say that I need to go watch Planet of the Apes, or at least wait for it to come out on. Do we even say come out on DVD anymore?
I mean,
is that a thing still?
I still use it. I think people understand that I'm talking about available
on Netflix or
streaming.
On HBO.
Streaming.
Yeah, anyway.
A digital copy.
I'll wait for it to come out, because I'm sure Christelle won't want to go watch it with me. But yeah, all I wanted to say was that I hope that they didn't have that factor in there. And if they didn't have the whole civil rights thing, I mean, it should have been beyond it when the second one came out. Because by then, it was like this dystopian, type futuristic world where everything had gone to shit.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that you mentioned the civil rights movement because a couple of days ago, actually, I think it was no, yeah, it was a couple of days ago. Ben Shapiro appeared at the Joe Rogan podcast. I don't know if you've seen that. I was listening to it, and it was glorious. I still have about an hour left.
I haven't listened to the whole thing. I've only watched excerpts on YouTube.
And
go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, he mentioned something about how society today, it's all about the next civil rights movement. Like it's come to a point where, like, at least in politics, like, and he attacks the left side more than anything, right? Because conservatives don't fucking give a shit. We're just like whatever, but. Leftists are always like they want to be part of the next civil rights movement, right?
Yeah.
Whether it be towards like gay marriage, transgenderism, and like on this one, it sounds on part 2, like animal rights, like really animal rights, animals,
well,
animal rights.
I don't know if it's so much like they want to be part of the like the civil rights movement. I think it's the fact that they just want to have a cause.
Yeah, well, that's what that's essentially what Ben Shapiro was saying. Like, like it's like you got nothing better to do. It's like, oh, I want to be part of this because that way I won't feel bad about being white or
yeah. Go back in time and try to understand that. Like, go back 20 years when you're a teenager and try to understand, like, if someone told you should be ashamed just because of what ethnicity you were born as.
Yeah, that's bullshit. It's bullshit on both sides. I hate it when people say, well, that was like my ancestors, it's not me. That's a bullshit argument, and it's also a bullshit argument of saying like, well, my people were slaves. And it's like, but you're not.
Yeah.
It's like, why don't we agree that both sides were fucked up, and let's just treat each other like human beings, and
Yeah, I don't ever see what's wrong with, like, we have this constant debate as to who's at fault at any given time for any situation. And now I will not agree with some conservatives that say that it's totally switching to, like, the whites are now the oppressed. I'm not going to go that far. That seems ridiculous to me. Until you're in chains and your family's taken away from you and you're working out in the fields, you're not going back to, you're not being repaid with what their ancestors had. That's right. You're just being targeted in an unfair way. That's it. The thing that just amazes me, though, is like, why can't we just agree that racism is wrong, and judging someone by the color of their skin, by the origin of their ethnicity, or by their age, or any other thing is wrong? I mean, That's it. And that's why I say affirmative action is horseshit. I feel like an asshole because I'm a white guy saying this, it's like affirmative action is bullshit, but it's like, okay, it's the same argument. You remember American History X?
I do remember.
Totally fucked up movie. But it had a point, and that was the most difficult thing for that movie is that, Derek, right? That was his name, right? Edward Norton's character.
I think so.
And Derek and his mom's Jewish boyfriend, and then his principal, a black guy.
Yeah.
They all had their own points of view, right? And the fucked up thing about that movie was, in the beginning, they all made sense. Like, they all had at least one point to make that was like, yes, that makes sense. But that's the problem. You know, it's like that one, a person might have one good point, but then, you know, this is what politicians do. They give you a little piece of truth, and then they just start giving you a bunch of bullshit. And all you focused on was that little piece. That's what the news does anyway. So, but it's difficult because he was saying, like, you know, with affirmative action, it's like this guy, 2 firemen, 1 white guy, 1 black guy. The white guy, let's say he has a bunch of credentials, like he passed the test with the higher score. He has more experience as an EMT, blah, 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 than the other guy, who happens to be a black guy. But they hire the black guy because they need to meet their quota for affirmative action. Is that right? You know, but it goes the other way around, too. If it was to happen for any other group, you know, and if it was switched around, I'd say the same thing. It's like, why don't you just get the most qualified person? And this is where my argument is for the whole thing with, like, the left's need to be part of a cause. It's like there's this never-ending group of hippies, but there's nothing to be a hippie about anymore.
Yeah, I agree.
And I all think they just want to be part of a crowd. They want to be part of some cause, some effort to fix something that doesn't really need fixed. In fact, we don't even need to talk about it anymore because it doesn't exist anymore. It's like you keep talking about slavery. It doesn't exist.
Yep. And I mean, I think, like, you tell any leftist this, and they'll go apeshit on you.
Yes.
Like, they'll mark you as like a freaking, like, oh, you're racist and stuff. Then you're not, like, you know, I can't think of the word. Shit. Well, anyways, but
Xenophobic.
You know, yeah, like, I'm not saying that it didn't exist. I'm acknowledging that it existed, and, you know, like I'll be the first one to tell you, like, I've been a victim of I've been discriminated upon, just because some days I look more Mexican than others, right?
Yeah. And
like I said, I've been pulled over by the Border Patrol, and I've been asked, "Where's your green card?" When,
like, asshole.
You know? And not just a guy from the border in Canada, Lonnie. Like, this happened up here in Riverside as well. Like,
Yeah.
I got pulled over by a Border Patrol, and I guess they don't need probable cause to pull you over. They can just pull whomever they fucking like.
Especially
And
now.
And that day, I happened to be wearing a hoodie because it was cold, and I'm driving a Honda. Like, big stereotype here in Mexico, right? Like, drive a Honda and you have a hoodie, you're Mexican. It's probably stolen. And, you know, he pulled me over, and the first thing he said, like, it's like, when was the last time you went to Mexico? I'm like, what the fuck? What kind of question is that? It's no driver's license, no license and registration question. No, it was, when was the last time you went to Mexico? That was the first question. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And then it's like, can you open the trunk? And I happened to be in golf school. He saw my golf clubs. After that, complete switch.
And did you ever have to pull out your ID?
No, because he saw the golf clubs, and this guy was a golfer, so.
So it's all good now. See, I would say
apparently at that point it was all good, but I'm like, you know, it's like,
that's
whatever.
Still
I'm late for school, but, you know, the point that I'm trying to make is that it's not that I don't feel any empathy for people that talk about slavery and all that stuff. I know it was true, like, and it was also true that for my ancestor, fuck, they got fucking destroyed by the Spaniards. That doesn't mean I go and every time I meet a Spaniard, I call and tell him, like, oh, you're a fucking, you know, Nazi or whatever.
Well, it's the thing, you know, like, I'm 1/4 Native American. Do I have to apologize to myself because 3/4 of my ethnicity is white? I mean, I don't understand where it all ends. You know, what's the end game for all of this? What is your ultimate goal? Recognition? Because I'll do that.
I don't think the left is it's like even clear on that.
I think that
It's
all of these causes had a real motive when they started, and the left grabbed a hold of it.
yeah.
Like liberals grabbed a hold of that and twisted it into something that wasn't what it's supposed to be. Like Black Lives Matter.
That's one
that started out as something that you could almost get behind, right? It's like there was a bunch of black people getting shot by white cops. It's like, okay, you guys wanted investigated. Yeah, let's investigate it. Why not? Let's make sure that the cops aren't just killing black people just for the hell of it because they're black. I'm okay with that cause. But when leftist liberals got a hold of that group, it became something completely different.
yeah.
And I honestly, I think the real oppressors are the ones that are funding these groups. And if it says anything, you remember Trayvon Martin? That one Mexican guy that ended up shooting and killing Trayvon Martin, the kid?
I think so.
There was a big thing about that, and they were debating whether this guy was Mexican or white. And it was just so ridiculous, the whole thing. And that's when you had this huge thing, like Obama came out and he started, this whole movement, like, pray for the family of Trayvon Martin, all that stuff. There was all this national attention on the case for Trayvon Martin. At the same time that this is happening, there are hundreds upon hundreds of deaths of black people getting shot and killed elsewhere in the country. Not a word. That should say something.
Yeah.
It's like they're focused on a movement because it gets them attention. I'm not talking about the people within the groups. I'm not doing that. I feel like they've been bait and switched, but I don't know. It sucks. It just sucks because nowadays you have to be careful, apparently, about everything that you say.
And how you say it, right?
Yes, and who you're saying it to.
For some reason, like liberals don't fucking understand sarcasm.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is,
for that
but
matter.
Anytime I do sarcasm, like around a leftist, they're always like, "Are you being serious right now?" like
no,
fuck, dude. Like, really, I have to explain everything. I have to say, it's come to the point where I have to say, like, I'm just joking. Like, I'm just joking.
Yeah, and that sucks because you're like, now you're
joking.
just pissed because nobody wanted to go along with the joke or nobody wanted to go along with the sarcasm. Yeah. Dude, it's becoming 1984. It's like this whole Orwellian universe now.
Yeah.
It's fucking stupid, man. Anyway.
Anyways, I loved Ben Shapiro being on the Joe Rogan podcast. Check it out if you haven't.
I have to watch the rest of it.
He made a really, really funny comment about the whole Caitlyn Jenner thing.
Yes, I did watch that one.
Did you see that where he's like, well, it's like we men are so good at stuff that even when we decide to turn into a woman, we're better at it than women. It's like Caitlyn Jenner's like 6 months of being a woman, and she got like Hero of the Year award or something like that, or Woman of the Year.
Like, damn.
Like we're better than women at being women.
Yeah, women should be pissed about that.
I thought it was fucking hilarious, dude. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was fun, and I still have about an hour left to go. But going back to GOT,
Game of Thrones, yes.
Game of Thrones. I'm all caught up. Are you all caught up?
I am.
Okay, if you're not all caught up, don't worry, there won't be any spoilers on this one. But I've been watching, I don't know why, I went down this fucking rabbit hole, and I've been watching reaction videos.
Yeah.
And I watched reaction videos on the Red Wedding initially, right?
People crying.
And it's so funny because like everybody's like, oh my god, and girls are just like crying, and God's sort of like, no, oh, no. Dude, it is funny as fuck to watch these reaction videos because like people got, and I know that the only people that were like that are people that haven't read the books.
Yeah.
Like now with season 6, and I think six didn't have when did Jon Snow come back live? Season 6, right?
Yeah, but that wasn't in
From
that's
from
beyond the
from
book.
right from season 6 till now, like people that read the books are in par with somebody who's never read the books and just has been watching the show, so they can't like spoil it for anybody, and they can't go like, oh, like I'm expecting the Red Wedding eventually, but all of the reactions that are from people that haven't seen the show are just fucking priceless.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you though, like I went down this rabbit hole of watching, and then I started thinking like, well, what other reaction videos are there on specific scenes? And one of them that came up like on the top list was Hodor.
Hold the door.
Yeah, Hodor's death, and that one, it even got me on some part when like people are crying. I'm like, oh shit, like that's actually pretty fucking sad.
Yes, it is, dude. That was now that is kind of spoiler, but
No, but
that
that's already
scene
season
was-
6.
that
was
season
on
was
season
brilliant.
6. I'm sorry if you're not caught up on season 6, then yeah, stop listening. But it was fucked up, and I guess George R. Martin's thought about that way before then when he started writing the books about Hodor, that he was gonna do something like that with the name.
yeah,
And I guess he was saying that, in the book it's gonna be a little bit more epic than what's in the show.
hmm
So, but yeah, I was highly entertained by it. But like, if you get emotional, like fuck, or actually, I should dare you. I should dare people to watch the Hodor reaction video because it's just video after video. They're compilations, right?
yeah. So it's like a never-ending assault on your emotions.
Right. So when you see different like people reacting with different emotions, and like there's this couple, like the girl is just going like, oh god, like no, and the guy, you can just see him, he's like holding as hard as he can, like he's trying so hard not to like cry, but you can see like sexy tear dropping.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's right, and you can't help but just like feeling something,
Yeah. Well, can I ask you a question? What's a manly movie that made you cry, or at least close to cry?
A manly movie
Yeah,
that
come
almost
on,
made
man.
me cry. Well, I mean, there's a lot of sports movies that do that to me.
There's one that comes to mind that it's hard for me to watch. There's several parts of the movie that are actually hard for me to watch.
But Invincible did it for me. Like,
Invincible's a good one.
the scene when he's talking with his dad and
Oh,
he's saying like
dude.
how like that one football play got him through like 20 years of working in a steel factory or whatever.
Yeah.
And then when he's saying like, just because I how does he say it to him? Like,
Just because I told you not to get your hopes up didn't mean
yeah,
that doesn't mean that I didn't.
Yeah, that I didn't get mine. Like, it's kind of like, Jesus fucking Christ, dude. Like, you want to talk about issues?
Yeah. Well, mine was what's the Warrior.
Warrior gets you.
I think the part where you had the scene where Tommy's down at the casino, and he basically trashes his father down at the casino, tells him he doesn't give a shit about him, tells him to pretty much fuck off, and that was like the last straw for the dad, he was trying so hard to make amends, which it's almost impossible to do, from what he did to them as children.
Right.
Which I'm guessing is just like he beat them and he was a drunk.
Or he beat him while drunk, right?
Yeah, and the mom. Anyway, so of course the brothers they don't really, but the scene where he goes back upstairs to his hotel room, and his dad, who's been clean and sober for a long time, has raided the bar.
Yeah,
That was
he's
difficult to
fucking.
watch. And then
He was just
he finally just like
raw.
he basically gives in and just holds on to his dad and gets him up into the bed, and that was hard to watch, man. And the ending, of course.
Man on Fire made me cry.
Man on Fire is a rough one, dude.
Yeah. So there's a lot of manly movies that are out there that, well, manly, I guess. Like, depends on your definition of manly, but
That's a manly movie.
think so?
What, Man on Fire? Oh
Yeah.
oh yeah. Oh yeah, I mean the one-liners in that movie, I mean that's pure like 80s action film type stuff. I'm going to find him and I'm going to kill him. Real simple.
Yeah, Denzel was amazing in that movie.
I got to watch that again. I might watch that tonight.
Then you have I don't know what there's. You know, this kind of sounds fucking stupid, but even Wreck-It Ralph kind of like triggered an emotional.
Well, that's
thing on
because
me,
it
like-
builds you up with all this nostalgia. It
When
brings you
he's-
in, and then and then
Yeah, when he's going down the volcano, he's saying, "I'm a villain," and he's reciting like his code of villains or whatever. But that's okay, and he's just like gonna slam into it. Like you're like, oh, I hope they don't make it like the first time I watch it. I'm like, oh, are they gonna make one of this movie where like the hero dies? Like,
it was rough, wasn't it?
yeah, like even that movie like triggers something, and I was like, shit, like, kind of makes you wonder though, like maybe am I really that fucked up?
Do you get emotional during the beginning of Up?
Well, yeah, but that's because it hits too close to home, you know?
Yeah, I get it. I just, I never, like, I hear people say all the time, like, oh, the beginning of Up, that's the worst one. It's like, I don't know if that's the worst one. I could still go back to, like, this isn't, I don't know if they made a movie about, yes, I think they did, Where the Red Fern Grows, about the boy and his two hounds.
That sounds familiar.
The book is fucking impossible to read without crying. Because, this boy gets two hounds, and I think they're brother and sister, and then one of them ends up dying because he gets bit or something like that and gets an infection. And I mean, the book describes it as like the sister dog. She doesn't hunt anymore because all she does is lay on the grave of her brother. And it's just such a hard... I mean, it's worse than Old Yeller.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, of course. Oh, then you have Marley and Me, but that's not a manly movie. I mean, Marley and Me is rough.
Yeah, I haven't seen that movie. I know the premise. I'm like, I'm not watching that.
Dude, it's not just about the dog, though. It's not just about the dog. It's about the family. And that's what made it difficult, is all the shit that happens with the family as the dog's getting older and stuff.
Right.
You got to watch that movie.
I think I mentioned this, but like, I think I mentioned it to you, right? Like, or on the last episode, I can't remember, but A Monster's Call. I mean,
Yeah.
but it just hits too close to home. Like, Saving Private Ryan. Like, shit, dude, I cannot watch that movie without like crying or just. It's not a movie that I watch from beginning to end.
Yeah.
Let me just put it like I always have to catch it like in between, and then I'll watch like 30 minutes maybe, and that's it. Like, that's
I'm
all I
out.
can stand. Like, yeah, I'm done. Like, change the channel or something. But yeah, I mean, and it's okay. Like, it's some people cry out of happiness, right? Because there's just so much. I can't remember what's that one hormone in charge of like crying, not crying, but regulating emotions.
I have the pituitary gland?
Is it the pituitary gland?
I don't know. It's not the pineal gland.
It's not the hypothalamus.
It
I don't
might
know,
be.
there's-
I don't know.
There's one gland, like, so it's the counter effect, right? When you're like too sad or too depressed or whatever, or like something sad just happened. Like, the reason why you cry is so that you can regulate.
Yeah.
So crying actually gets rid of that excess, like, depressed or that excess sadness or fear or whatever it is that you're feeling.
So crying's a
And
good thing.
yes, it's a good thing for the body because like I said, it puts you back to that's the body's way of putting you back to neutral. So when you get extremely happy or extremely emotional, like I don't know, like The Pursuit of Happiness, you know that that last scene where he's
movie.
like that is pure joy, right? Like that's an excess of joy. So when you have an excess of joy, the body goes like, this is too much. I have to cry so I can go back to neutral.
Did you cry?
Fuck yeah, I cried, dude.
Dude, I think the first part I cried in that movie is when first one is when they had to spend the night in the bathroom.
Yeah,
that shit was rough.
That was rough.
The second one was when his kid tells him he's a good papa. And that shit, you're like, you have boys, you have kids. I mean, if you're having a hard time with life and one of your boys just comes up to you and looks at you and tells you you're a good dad, you're done. You're crying. It's over.
Like, my son told me, you're the best dad in the world. I'm really proud of you. Once.
And you were done for a week.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, like really that just came out of your mouth?
Yeah. Well, that's like my oldest son, Leland. He's he can be a butthead, I'll tell you. You know, he's one of those he's got the strongman mentality, you know, like he has to kind of like not be a bully, but he has to like kind of show his power.
Right.
You know, he's a boy, but I'll tell you what, when that kid decides that he's going to be compassionate and loving, nobody does it better. I mean, he'll come up to you, he'll look at you, give you a big hug and say, I love you. I'm like, oh shit. Yeah.
What do you want?
Yeah.
So that, yeah, it's I mean, there's definitely some science to it, you know. Crying doesn't make you a pussy necessarily.
Crying's good.
For the right reasons.
Yeah.
Right?
Do you cry in the shower? Have you?
I don't. Like, I usually don't.
Do you look at yourself in the mirror?
No, dude.
You fucking liar. You look at yourself in the mirror.
I haven't done that shit since, like, high school.
Your self-mutilation.
Yeah, you're like, you're a piece of shit. You're a piece of shit.
So, okay, you got it.
I did my best.
Did my best. You know, that's like one of my favorite stories that Dane Cook tells. You know, like, that was right towards the end of his, like, good comedic career. Yeah. But is that whole story about, you know, like, having those days where you're like, nothing's wrong, you're fine, but you just have to cry. Like, there's something going on with, you know, inside where you just have to cry. And it was fucking hilarious because it's so true. Like, you'd just be at work and you're like, what the fuck is wrong with me? You're like, everything's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I had a kind of like an existential crisis earlier. You know, I'm just sitting there outside, I'm all fucking alone. And I'm just like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, you know?
Yeah.
What am I doing with my life? Like, you know, if I was a millionaire right now, and I didn't have to go to work.
Oh my God. I'm
like,
panicky about it.
It's like, oh my God. Like seriously, I was like, what the fuck am I doing? And then all of a sudden I was like, oh yeah, this is just, yeah. I'm fine.
Just having one of those feelings.
Yeah, it's like, I'm fine.
My dad's actually in that situation right now because he ended up getting an early retirement. So now, like, he had all these plans, right? Like, for a couple of years from now, like, okay, this is what I want to do. You know, I'm going to plan this vacation, like, right after I retire. And I'm going to be, you know, going to be gone for, like, a month with the wife. And we're just going to do whatever, you know, just kind of relax, like, blow off the steam from, like, you know, 30-something years of working, right? Well, now that he's early retirement, he's he's not panicky, he's just, you know, really uneasy. Yeah. Like, he just doesn't know what to do. And I told him, like, dude, just find something. And I know it's easier said than done, but seriously, just like, if you need something to do that bad, go over to Target, get yourself a part-time job stocking shelves in the morning when there's no customers. I did that once. One of my favorite jobs that I've ever had. And he's like, yeah, I guess I could. Or I'm like, or you could be a greeter at Walmart. You can go, work in a warehouse for a couple hours a day. I go, just do something. And then when you decide to quit, you just fucking quit. And it doesn't have to be this thing. Like, now you have the freedom. Like, don't freak out because you have the freedom. But
you can always volunteer to do work too, right?
Yeah, and that's what he was saying he was thinking about doing, is volunteering some time with like a nonprofit, like working with kids or something like that. Because my dad loves kids. He's just this big teddy bear. But whenever we were in Royal Rangers, like he was.
Can you please clarify that statement, because that sounds a little bit too petty.
No. When we were in Royal Rangers, my dad was the senior commander for a while. And the senior commander is like the head leader, of that section. Like in Boy Scouts, you have like the head. I don't know what they call them, but he did that for a while, and he loved it because he got to go camping all the time. He got to be out there and teach the boys how to make a fire, tie knots and stuff, and just kind of have fun, relax, and be around some people that don't give a shit about everyday life.
Oh, he can start golfing. I mean,
my dad, and I don't know if he can do it with his back. I don't know if my dad's into golf either. He's such a big guy. He looks so awkward golfing. Like, I don't even know if you could find gloves to fit him. Or a hat.
Your dad's pretty huge, though.
Yeah. What happened to me?
I don't know.
I think it's my mom. Like my mom's side of the family. They're all either really short or really skinny and tall.
But just to put Lonnie's dad in perspective, you ever seen American Chopper?
Yeah.
Like the show?
Yeah.
You seen the guy with the big mustache, the dad?
Paul Tuttle.
He looks exactly like Lonnie's dad.
Well, and I tell people all the time, that he's so big. Like, I'm still afraid of my dad. My dad could be 99 years old, sitting in a wheelchair, unable to move, and I would still be afraid of that man. But I feel bad for my dad just because he's at that point in his life where he has to make, these little decisions. They're not even big, but to him, they're huge decisions, right? Because it's like, what am I going to do with my time now? It's like, now you're no longer useful to a certain group of people, right? It's like every day you went into work, you became an important person, at least somewhat, right? Like, right. Everybody knew you were going to be there when they got to work. They know who you are. You have a certain amount of respect that you get from people after working somewhere for a while, and now it's just not there. It's just not, and you can hang out with the retirees as much as you want. It's just not the same.
Yeah, well, that's the problem when we call them identity statements, right?
Yes.
Because it's like when you ask people about what they do.
Yeah.
Like, ask anybody, what do you do? They don't say, I do computer programming.
Yeah.
Right? They don't say, I do sales.
They say, I work here.
They say, I'm a programmer. They say, I'm a clerk.
Yeah.
I'm a sales rep. I am a... They don't say I don't. They don't say I do psychology. They say I am a psychologist. So when you take that away from them,
I'm a retiree. Doesn't have the same.
They have an identity, kind of like an identity crisis.
Yeah,
you're taking something that they identify with, and they can no longer say I am a chairman or whatever of this.
Yeah.
And that or whatever.
I think it has a bigger effect on people that used to be supervisors or managers or CEOs. Like, when you retire, that power's gone. And you may not have even wielded it in a bad way. You might have been a really good boss. And when you're done, it's like, what do I do? You know, I can't talk to my wife that way, you know?
Right. And it's really hard when you identify with your work. When you take that away, it's kind of like
It's a piece of you.
it's like it's like a piece of you that just died and it's like no longer there. So you got to deal with that grief portion of it.
Yeah.
So that's why I've always decided no matter what I do, I will not identify with the job.
Yeah.
Hence why I don't like to call myself a psychologist. You know, like
Do you just say like I help people?
yeah, I help people achieve their full potential or the potential that they have in whatever activity that or any aspect of their lives that they want to work on.
And you know what? That garners a better response from people when you tell them that something like that, because then they'll ask you like, what does that mean? Like, you know, and then you can explain it, you know, like, and then it's something that you can say. And I think that might even move into retirement as well. You know, you could say that, you know, I'm retired now, but I used to do this, you know, and you know, like, and you can explain it the same way, like you're still working there, but like I'm retired, but this is what I used to do. And when people ask you about it, you'd be like, oh, it was awesome. I did this, and you know, and now I, you know, go on vacations, I have fun, and I reap the benefits of all my work.
So yeah, and I think that's why when I left the military, it didn't really have that big impact in me, you know, because I never said when the people ask me like, what do you do? I never said I'm a boom operator.
Yeah.
I always said I'm in the military.
Yeah.
And then the next question would be, what do you do? And it's like I refuel airplanes in midair.
Yeah. Oh, that's always how I explain it, because I stopped saying boom operator a long time ago, because people will ask, what is that? And then it's easier to say, you know, like I used to be an in-flight aircraft refueler. And they'd be like, you mean like you refueled planes in the air? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, dude, that's awesome. I'm like, yeah, I guess, you know. But
yeah. So you know, and this happens with people in the military as well. That's why some of like a lot of our veterans
snipers.
Like dude, like the suicide rate for veterans is ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of purpose that you gain in the military, even as a low-ranking guy.
I mean, we have like the 22 push-up challenge.
Yeah.
There's 22 veterans a day, I believe, that commit suicide.
Yeah.
22 veterans. Like, these are people that have either retired, or they got a medical disqualification or disability or whatever, and all of a sudden, like, you take that away, something that they've identified or they see themselves doing for the rest of their lives, and all of a sudden it's gone.
Yeah.
And then you lose your sense of purpose.
Yep.
So, you know, that's something like, and I'm not saying I'm not saying it's wrong. Like, some people need to identify with what they do. All I'm saying is, like, you know, when you're coming close to retirement, you gotta kind of like switch gears and say, like, okay, what's gonna be my new purpose now in life?
Yeah.
Because I'm no longer gonna be this.
It's amazing how much life has to do with priorities.
Yeah.
You know, and what you think you are, or at least what you want to be. And I think that happens daily too. You know, like you wake up like, okay, what kind of guy am I going to be today? You know, that, I don't know. It's rough. I feel bad for my dad just because he has to go through that part of his life earlier than he thought he would. You know, and the thing that he's been asking me about is he wants to do this, he wants to sign us up, me and him, for this show. It's a survival show up in Canada. And they leave, and it's out in the middle of fucking nowhere in Canada. Not like the civilized part of Canada. I'm talking like, you know, the fucking boonies.
Dude, I would totally watch this show.
Well, I told them, you know, like, I think it's only 45 days. Now, to all the people listening that, like, I understand if you hear 45 days and you're like, what the fuck? Why the hell would you do that? Honestly, 45 days in survival in the middle of the woods in Canada ain't that bad. I mean, if it was the tropical rainforest, I'd say, fuck that. There's no way. But,
You got mosquitoes and all that shit.
Oh, dude, fucking rainforest is instant death. Unless you are like a super seal, there's no way. But I told them, I'm like, yeah, go ahead and put our names down for it. But if you make it, it's none of this like if you win. Like there's other groups that do it, like a brother, sister, two brothers, a dad, and a son. It's not like you're competing against them. It's just if you make the 45 days, you get $500,000. And I was like, you know what?
All of them?
Well, it would be 250,000 apiece.
No, but it's every group that makes it through, or
yes, every group.
It's not like Survival where they like vote you off
no,
and shit.
that show is horseshit anyway. But
so in reality, it's 250,000 divided by 2.
Yes, and basically
I don't know how the Canadian government's gonna look at it either, too. Like,
yeah, well,
because you're gonna pay taxes to Canada, and you're gonna pay taxes to the U.S.
Probably. But it still ends up being like $100,000 that is all yours,
you're like,
right?
So like at the end, it's gonna make like $5,000 net.
Well, I told them, I'm like, you know what? It's really not that bad because they keep it around a certain time of year where you're not there during the winter, which is good. And my dad knows an assload about survival. I mean, he's done a bunch of different courses and stuff like that. And then I learned a bunch of stuff from him growing up. And then, of course, I went to survival school. And that added some. Not a whole lot, but it added some. And
at least you can start a fucking fire, right?
Oh, I could start a fire before that, but, whatever.
There you go.
That is the most important thing.
Yeah.
You be able to know how to make a fire, find water. The rest of it, you'll figure out. But I told him, go ahead and sign us up. And I'm pretty sure I could have like a leave of absence from work to do it or something like that and be like, hey, I'm going to be on this show, and I'm sure that, as much as I may not, agree with everything that my work does, they'd be pretty cool about something like that. I don't know. My dad, like I said, I feel bad for him, but I hope that he figures out what he wants to do. I honestly think the best thing for him and his type of personality is to just go and get a part-time job for a little while until he kind of figures out what he wants to do. And then just have that day. Like, if you have a shitty boss and you're a retiree, just fucking quit.
Yeah, I mean...
and it'll be satisfying, too, because you don't care. Or just don't show up, That's kind of, rude for the next person that wants a job, but whatever. But yeah. Speaking of all these movies and stuff that we've been watching, you just got done watching earlier. You watched Shock Collar.
Yes.
Shot collar, not shock collar, like a dog shock collar, like a gunshot.
And it's a collar as in like I call you,
Yeah.
not collar as in like a dog collar.
Yeah, it's actually a confusing title if you're just talking to someone about it, because then they'll be looking up like, shock collar and they'll be like, what the fuck? There's no movie called Shock Collar. Which would be like a Wes Anderson movie.
I like, now that I think about it, I feel a little bad that I was actually rooting for potentially like somebody who becomes a leader of the neo-Nazi group.
Well, I don't think that he necessarily bought into all the stuff, and I think it's a good thing that he became the leader.
It doesn't matter though. Like, he still had like the white pride tattooed.
I don't think he had a choice.
And like the Nazi symbols and all that shit. You're kind of like, I'm rooting for this guy.
Dude, the time lapse is interesting in that movie, isn't it? Like how they switch back and forth to different, like before and afters, and it's weird to see his transformation in that way, as opposed to like, say, the Godfather series, where you see the transformation of Michael Corleone, where it's just direct timeline chronologically, from beginning to end. This one's like, this one is end, beginning, towards the end, right after the beginning. It's kind of interesting how they do it, but I like it.
Yeah, it was a good movie. Like I highly recommend it. And it's kind of hard to talk about this movie without giving up like a lot of information.
Yeah, a
So we're not
lot.
gonna do that. We're not gonna do that for you. Go check it out. It has Jamie Lannister.
Yep. And
I
what's
don't
the
know
guy's name who plays Punisher?
well, it's kind of ironic. It's like his character's name in this one is also Frank. So
Yeah,
Frank Castle from like he plays, the Punisher
but he
and
did
Daredevil. So
fantastic.
yeah, or Shane from The Walking Dead.
Yeah,
I don't know his name. Um,
he did a really good job
which
in that movie.
he was good in that boxing movie. What was it?
Boxing movie.
Yeah, he plays the son of a boxer. Who was it? It's the Rocky versus the Raging Bull. Remember? Robert De
What?
Niro and Stallone just made a movie recently.
I did not see
There's there,
this.
there's two old boxers that they always wanted to like do
Oh,
the
yes.
dream match.
I've seen that movie. Yes.
Yeah, he's the son of Robert De Niro.
Okay, yeah.
And he helps him train but I can't remember his name though.
He looks like a boxer. He's even got the
He does
broken
look
nose and
I guess he does actually.
yeah. So you've been dieting just like me. Now
Yeah,
you
and
said you're
I
on the
think
paleo?
it's sort of a paleo format diet, right? Well, eating plan. I don't like to call things diet, but
Whatever.
so anyway, it's really really simple because all I do is I either eat carbs with vegetables or meat with vegetables, but never meat and carbs.
See,
So I
mine's
can
a lot different.
so I can still have like an In-N-Out burger as long as it's protein style. Can't have fries,
Yeah. Starch.
right? And like seriously, like since I started eating like this, like I don't even crave sodas anymore. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. I love
Like
soda.
because it well I took Coke away from uh right and I started drinking Sprite and like the grapefruit sodas and stuff.
Yeah.
Now like I actually like just go for the water. It's kind of weird. Like I don't feel that sugar craving anymore. So and I eat a lot of mush.
Yeah.
So a lot of oatmeal because it's low calorie. So essentially it's high volume, low calorie intake. And because you're not mixing the carbs with meat, your insulin levels drop,
Yeah.
which is what allows you to like burn fat from my understanding, right? And it's worked wonders for me. I started at 189. I'm at 176.2 right now. And that's in a course of I'm in week 4, so 1 month.
Yeah. Well, good. Yeah, I'm doing the slow carb diet, but it's the Tim Ferriss version from 4 Hour Body. And it's basically like slow carbs meaning like beans. So I'm not actually eating bread or rice or anything like that. Basically, my meals consist of a lot of protein, and vegetable and beans. And I got to be honest, I fucking hate beans, like black beans.
And I bet your farts stink.
Yes,
don't they?
very, very much. But
See, this is one of the things that I like about mine is like I get the like what I call the ghost shits. So you can go take a shit and then you like wipe your butt and it's like nothing comes out.
yeah,
It's like clean.
clean wipe. Well, with mine, like we have cheat days on ours, but it's because you have to have carbohydrates, right? You can't just have a high protein diet and then expect to stay healthy. You can't continuously eat just protein and be okay. So what you do is you basically load up on anything you want, like the sugars and all that stuff, on 1 day a week, and then you go right back into it. But all those carbohydrates and sugars and things that you ate are utilized throughout the week. So, like, you'll do your cheat day, then you go right back into the meal plan the next day, and like I said, it's been 2 weeks. I went down from 232, big boy, down to 217. And it's nice because I don't, I'm going to have to start wearing my belts again.
Does your penis look bigger?
I don't understand the question. My penis has always been big. I mean, every time I look at my foot, I can see my penis. So,
so you say.
Yeah. But no, it's nice. Like my shirts are a little baggier.
Yeah, that was like the best feeling in the world, like where. It's gotten to this point, but like when I was when I went to basic training, I was at 160, and out of basic training, I got out at 128.
Jesus, sue
like
me.
I was a 28 waist. I was like a fucking supermodel, right?
Yeah.
And then I got up to my ideal weight, which is 145, 150, and I was working out and stuff, and a 32 it would just fit perfectly.
Yeah.
I didn't if I didn't wear a belt, I'd be fine, but I always worn a belt just for aesthetics. And it got to a point right now when I got like almost to 180 that I started buying 34s.
See, that's funny because I went down from 36 to 34, but that's small for me.
That's where I drew the line, and I said nope. No fucking way. I'm going back to my 32s. Some jeans have to be 33s just because, their measurements are different. But I'm like, no, I don't want to buy new clothes. I want to go back to my 32s.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the thing is, like with Christelle, she's on a it's a certain type of diet. It's basically like eating healthy. That's basically what she's doing.
Isn't that every fucking diet?
Well,
though?
yes, but it's basically like she cut out a bunch of stuff, and she's drinking more water. She's obviously eating healthier during her meals, eating until she's full and not beyond that. And seriously, if you want a good way to stay healthy, that's probably the best way to do it, and it improves your mood. And water's amazing, by the way. I mean, I cannot explain enough how much water affects your body and your brain. Like, if you drink a proper amount of water, or at least, not talking about, like, the salt water, plan or whatever that we had spoken about before. I'm just talking about, like, normal water. If you hydrate correctly throughout the day, there's so many different problems that you can get rid of. And, like, even when you're sick, what's the one thing the doctor always tells you to do when you go to the doctor because you're sick? Drink plenty of fluids. Right?
Right.
But that's like number one. That's the first thing that you should be doing when you're feeling sick, is drink water. And it's amazing how much it'll make you feel better. Like, that's the same thing with the headache. Drink some water.
Yeah. Well, that's another, like, that's another fucking can of worms that I don't want to open tonight. Because I don't. Have you seen any of the videos from Dr. Berg at all?
No.
Well, Dr. Berg argues that hydration, or the way that water is right now, like this purified water that you're drinking,
is wrong.
It's wrong, right? You need mineral water.
Yes. Which,
like water, like Pellegrino, like your Perriers and stuff. It is not normal what they tell you in the military, that you have to drink water, and people say, like, oh, if you're not peeing every hour, then you're dehydrated, right?
That is totally wrong.
And your pee should be clear or whatever. It's like, no. And Dr. Berg has a video about urine color. So essentially what he's saying is, like, if it's too yellow, then it's too concentrated, then you need intake, right?
Yes.
If it's too light, i.e. it looks like the fucking water that you're drinking right now, it's too diluted.
Yeah.
So you need to, like, just cut it. so you want like something in between, but the but essentially like water should be minerals, and with all of the like filtrations that they do on bottled water, you don't get the minerals that you actually need for hydration.
Yeah.
Like a well hydrated person will it's not measured by the amount of time that you go pee or by the quality of your pee, but it's measured by how thirsty you actually feel.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you've ever seen people that just don't fucking drink water all day and they're fine.
Yeah.
They're not dehydrated, air quotes, like people have you to believe, like, oh, but you don't drink water, you're dehydrated. It's like, no, that they just have a higher mineral intake and they're using what they need. And when they don't, then it just comes out.
Well, it's the same thing. Like your body is what, 70% water,
It is,
and
or higher. I don't know.
and if you see these people that aren't drinking that much water, but they're like what, I'm not saying watch their pee habits, but they're probably not going to the bathroom as much as you are.
Yeah.
You know.
And and then when I tell people like, well, and another solution if mineral water is too expensive for you is ocean water.
Yeah.
And I think we've talked about this before. And like whenever I tell people like, yeah, you can live off of ocean water. There, like, zombie apocalypse comes in, fossil fuels go away. We have ocean water.
Do you think that
And
that's
then-
just a big big conspiracy?
I don't know. I don't know if it's a big conspiracy. I wouldn't call it a big conspiracy. I would say it's more of there's no money to be made in ocean water research.
Why? Because there's plenty of it, and people don't have to pay for it.
Exactly. Unless you live in like the central portion of a country, that right?
Yeah.
But yeah, like, and if you don't believe me, like I said, and I encourage people to not believe me, to go do the research on your own, is look for Renee Quinton.
Which I have to look at in my school's library to see if there's any journals.
Yeah, well, like I said, a lot of his research was based on kind of like personal observations and stuff.
Yeah.
But he had pictures and documentation stuff. There wasn't any really like controlled studies and all that stuff like they do nowadays.
Yep.
Right. And like I mentioned before, the reason why is because his method took about 30 days to see results. And penicillin came out and there was like instant results. So all the research and funding went towards penicillin versus
Of course.
ocean water. But ocean water has 76 elements of the periodic table, and it has the same composition as plasma, which is your blood.
Yeah.
So just saying.
Yeah. So you're basically putting into your body what your body already has or should have.
Exactly. Exactly. That and the only thing that people have to be educated in is on the quantities that you drink, right?
Yeah.
So they have like the isotonic, hypertonic solutions. So isotonic, you essentially mix your bottled water with ocean water to dilute it. So it's a 2-to-5 ratio, I believe.
Yeah.
And a hypertonic, you're just doing like a shot. And there's right now I know of only 2 companies. Like one is the Quinton company, and I think they're based out of Spain that do it. But those guys actually do filtration systems. The guy that came up with the dolphin diet is what they call it, is just essentially just drinking ocean water. Is he says just do it like from the beach. So
Shouldn't that say something that, like, if you look at, I'm going to go with just the name of the company or the plan, the dolphin or the whale, they're mammals, right?
right.
Where do they get their water?
Yeah, good point. Or do they even drink water?
Or, water is believed to be, like the most essential element to, not element, but the most essential ingredient to life existing, right?
Right.
That's the one thing we look for when we're looking at a planet, is for water. In fact, we've been looking at Mars for how long to show that there's signs of water?
Or worse signs of water?
Yeah, just to prove that there could have been life. And so where does a dolphin get its water? It seems kind of simple. It's so simple that it's stupid.
Yeah. No, yeah, but you get a point though. Like that's something like even like right now I'm like mind blown. I'm like I never thought about that.
Well, because like with the fish, either like a shark or something like that, they have their own filtration system within their gills and the other membranes that are inside of their body that filtrate the water so that they can get both oxygen and H2O. So, but if a mammal that's in the ocean doesn't have those things, right? So how does it get its water?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think you got a point.
Maybe I'm just totally off base and I have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about, which is completely possible.
I know, like, somebody's gonna come up and it's like, oh, well, you retard, like, they do it it goes through their skin. Everybody knows that.
Like, oh, okay.
I'm like, oh, well, I don't know. I'm not an expert in dolphin anatomy.
Well, the good thing about our audience is that we'll never have that happen, at least not in the, the near future, because they don't fucking email.
Do they comment or tweet at all?
Nothing. The only thing
good.
I get is like some random like or retweet on Twitter.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
But I'm pretty sure they're fake accounts. So
there's one of those that you're trying to get us to like
it's just
like him on Instagram and shit like that.
Or it's like some, chick with her boobs hanging out, and it's like her account is
like
2
boobs,
days
though.
old.
I have mentioned how much I like boobs though.
But it's probably some Indian guy.
It doesn't matter. They're showing me a boobie. I'm looking at it. Once you see a pair, you want to see them all, right?
I guess.
Speaking of, well, actually, not speaking of, like, I have a video that it should be. If you're on YouTube, it'll be in the description below. And I think I told you about this video, and I wrote it as a dumb guy with taser. Have you seen this? It's this black kid, and he's playing with a fucking taser gun like on his phone. Like, you know how you can hook up a taser to your iPhone?
Yeah.
And then like it's like the battery or something, like it's Bluetooth. I don't know. It's something. It's connected somehow, but you can essentially have a taser on your phone. And this guy's playing. He's talking shit, and I don't remember quite well what he was saying. He's sounding like, oh, you come up to me, like, bzz, I'll just fucking bust you and drop your ass. So he has like a can of like soda, and he like has the camera pointing at it, and he tases it, and like the can flies. And he has like different object that he's just fucking tasting, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, he grabs this gold bracelet, and he's holding it. He's like, I'm going to taste this thing.
Oh, my God.
And you're like, you stupid fuck. You stupid fuck. You stupid fuck. And all of that, he fucking goes at it.
Oh, my God.
And he tastes himself.
Wow.
And since we discovered how to do a share screen, I want to show it to you so that people who are not watching the video can, or that are not on YouTube can actually hear the audio. It is.
Will they be able to hear it through yours?
I think so, right?
Hey, if they can, they can. If they don't, I might be able to add the audio.
All right. Well, then it'll be in whatchamacallit, in YouTube as well.
Yeah.
So
are we going to add it to our channel?
Yeah, it will be available, people, for you to see, because I watched it and I share this with people from work, and they were all going like, "Oh no, you're not doing that."
Okay. I got a taser. Oh my god, I want to see this guy shit his pants. What a moron. Oh my god, dude.
Different fuck.
What a douchebag. And that guy's girlfriend in the background is just laughing her ass off.
Well, I guess it wasn't on an iPhone. I guess it was actually a real taser. Like, oh, they're just
Oh my
fucking
God.
laughing. Look at him. He's like on the floor twitching.
I'm sorry, but if this might sound oddly racist.
He totally deserved it, though.
No. It has nothing to do with that. I love the way that black people laugh. Because they don't hold it in at all. Like white people, we're stupid about it. We try to be polite, you know, like hold
Giggle
it back.
away.
No, black people just let it go. This is why I love you.
You know, it reminded me of. I'm gonna give a shout out to Sergeant Hewitt because he told me a story about a taser gun. Right?
Yeah.
His sister is a cop, or was a cop. At the time, she was a cop. And you remember Sergeant Hewitt, right?
Of course.
Like this guy was like fucking hilarious. One of the greatest sergeants I've ever met in my life.
One of the best storytellers ever.
Just down to earth, just a funny guy. So he's telling me the story that about his sister being a cop, and she showed up in full uniform. And she has a taser gun, and she's like, "Oh, it's like, does those things really work?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, this shit will drop you, and you will pee your fucking pants." And it was like, "No way." It's like, "Yeah, because like you after you shock them, the muscles when they're relaxing, you have no control over your nervous system.
Yeah.
So everybody that you shock, they just fucking pee their pants." He's like, "No way," and she just goes bzz, and fucking shocks him. And he's like, I just go, "Ugh," and I stiffen up, and like she just fucking dropped me.
Oh.
And I pissed my pants.
As advertised.
So this kid.
You should put it on the box.
On top of me thinking, like, you stupid fuck. And then I'm like, and you probably piss your underwear, too.
Seriously, they should put that on the box. Like, you know, so much fun you'll piss your pants.
It was funny, dude. Like, I can't believe I held on, like, this much longer, and I showed you this video.
Oh, man. Well,
I hope you guys enjoyed it. I freaking, I loved it. It's like, now I'm gonna taste this. It's like, no,
what
don't.
a douchebag.
How? Anyways, buddy, you want to take a break real quick?
Well, where are we at? Oh shit!
Want to take a
dude? We're at an hour and 38 minutes. Wow.
Yeah, let's take a quick break.
All right, quick break. Be right back. And we are back.
That took a whole second.
Yeah. Did it feel good?
It did.
So, tasers and pee in your pants.
Yeah. Oh, man. That was funny. That was priceless.
Yeah. Dude, I am so jealous of my wife and my kids right now because they're camping and I'm not. You know, like I can't even explain to you. Like I've wanted to get out. We didn't get to go on that Yellowstone trip, and then this came up. You know what I think I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take my boys out fishing or something. You know, I'm just tired of being at home. like today, I was seriously considering, and I might do it tomorrow. Is just kind of going around town and like walking around in some stores, maybe going to Best Buy. I don't know if I'll have enough time. But yeah, I really need to get out. It's been a long time since I've been alone for this long.
Yeah.
It's awkward.
A little bit.
I mean, it's nice waking up in the morning and like being able to stretch out on the bed, you know, and not having anybody there that you can wake up. But oh well, that's about the only good thing I think.
Well, I mean, that and because you can throw a party
Yeah,
by yourself.
too much of a mess that I have to clean up.
I don't know. Like I gotta be honest. Like if I didn't golf, I would fucking go bananas like crazy. Like no. And I think that's what I'm gonna do tomorrow. Oh, hold on, people. The call just dropped. Okay, and we're back. Sorry. So Lonnie, the call dropped. So
Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know if that
Did you
was
hit-
me or you.
did you hang up on me?
I
Is that
swear
what
to God, I
happened?
did not.
I probably got just cut off, but
It's your
um,
fucking Mexican Wi-Fi, dude.
no, my Wi-Fi is good now. Like I hired a different company and I got more megs. So no, my internet's fucking solid now, dude. I think it's way better than the one I have in the US.
Yeah, I think it's run by Los Pollos Hermanos.
Los pollos hermanos. So anyways, where were we?
I was talking about my wife being gone, and the only good thing
Oh
about
no! Oh yeah. So if I didn't golf, like that, because that's something that you can do it by yourself and you're fine. And if you enjoy it, like yeah. But if I didn't have golf, dude, I don't know what I would do all fucking day.
see, I do a lot of like I'll do school since I'm still in school right now, and I'll do that for a little while, but then, I mean, you can only watch so many movies. And I think you realize that today. Like when you start like asking other people what movies I should watch, that's when you've seen too much.
Yeah, I know. I watch shit. Well, I watched 3 movies today, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, because I watched Shot Caller, John Wick, and before that I was watching something else.
Something else.
And then not to mention the YouTube videos and all that stuff. Um, yeah, dude, I it's been crazy. So,
I'm sure that if I was single, I would find something to do with my time.
well, I mean,
But
yeah, you kind of put yourself out there, but just the fact that we know that the family's coming back, it's kind of like it kind of puts you on hold because you can't really do single life. It's not like you can just fucking go to a bar and like go cruising for chicks or whatever.
yeah,
Right? So I don't know. It's definitely a weird one, and I know it's gonna happen probably next year as well. So, because kids can go on vacation, the wife can go on vacation, but if you're the sole provider, you're kind of fucked.
yes, very much so.
And if you don't have like leave days accumulated, like it's really hard to take a non-pay day.
Yeah,
And like I had to take one last week because I took my wife to the hospital. Or was it to the hospital? I can't remember. I can't remember if it was a hospital appointment or something with like a school appointment. But we had to do something together on Friday, and I took it as a non-pay because I'm out of vacation days. So
already.
yeah, well, dude, we like I said, I've been taking Anna to hospital appointments almost every week, and some of them were not. We couldn't get the appointment on Saturdays; it had to be on a Monday or a Friday.
Yeah, I get
And
it.
that happened for like 3 months straight.
Wow. Yeah,
So
it can be rough. I know that. Do you feel the same way? Like after you've had a certain amount of kids, that you kind of shit your brain out. Like how much?
a little
How much
bit.
is your memory gone? Like for a lot of things, you're fine, but for some shit, you're just like, why can I not remember what the fuck I did yesterday?
Um, do you have a hard time recalling your kids' names?
Dude, I have
Like
four of them.
you have to call like everybody
Yes.
in order to get the one. Yeah,
Yes.
I do that. I do that shit all the time.
Dude, when we were at Disneyland, all I did was count. I mean, that's like when we were walking around the park, all I did was count to 4 the whole fucking time. Not because I was panicked or anything, but they're kids, like especially the boys. They'll just walk, they'll just go. They see something interesting, they're gonna go to it. So the whole time I'm just like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we're good. And, like I'd have the tiny little panic attack every now and then, like when the one kid would be like behind me. I'd be like, shit, where's the 4th one?
That's funny.
But we're going to Disneyland this coming February, I think, and I don't know. I'm thinking about getting a leash for one of them.
Oh my god,
dude! I've made fun of people so much for it, but
I have one of those actually. Like it's like a backpack that has a dog, and the tail is a leash.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've put that on my kids, but then I noticed that they wouldn't go away that far, so we just stopped it.
And that's when they walk away.
Yeah. Then all of a sudden, boom, they're gone. But no, I can't say anything because I had some of those. I think they're funny.
Yeah.
I had the doggy one. Like I know they have like monkeys.
Yeah, it's interesting having a lot of kids. Like after 3, like once you've had 3 kids, shit starts to get interesting. Because then, like you say, like you're calling out every single name that you can, trying to like, which one am I talking to?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Life is just different with a lot of kids.
Yeah, the other day, like, and then they get pissed off at you. Like my toddler was like, Kenji was doing I can't remember. He was doing something, and I just fucking yell at him. I'm like, Iki! That's the oldest. So he turns around and he's like, I'm not doing anything. And then I'm like, sit. I'm like, no, that's the baby. I'm like, Kenji, like, stop.
Yep. Yeah, it can get rough. I even call my sons by my daughter's name on accident every now and then. That really pisses them off.
I'm not a girl.
But yeah, it's amazing how much fun you can have with kids, though. Like just stupid things too. The one thing that all my kids like they love is to be tickled. But they don't like to be tickled like the light tickling. Like you get them under the armpit when they got their arm up or something like that, and you just kind of give a little rub on the armpit, and then they, No. My kids like to be violently tickled. All 4 of them.
Like the poking.
Yeah, like digging your hands into their fucking ribs, until they're like panic stricken with laughter. Like hysterical, can't breathe. That's what they like. And then when you stop, they just kind of sit there and they smile at you and they're waiting. It's like, really?
Yeah.
If someone did that to me, I'd fucking punch him in the throat.
Yeah, my kids, they're about the same. They like the heart, like one finger poke.
Oh yeah.
Like the multiple one. And they're always like, wait for it, and they'll be like, more.
Like, you serious?
Give me more.
But one thing that all 3 of my boys love is their back being scratched. So I know they're my kids. I could have my wife scratch my back all day long. That it's like sex and then back scratch.
I would say sex and then
shitting.
No, peeing. Like when you just the feeling. Sometimes taking a piss feels about as good as being with a woman.
Almost.
Like when you like been holding it for like a while because you're like in traffic or whatever, and you're like just fucking like doing the pee-pee dance at the end. You're like
Yeah.
Yeah, that one feeling when the first stream comes out, you're like,
where it's painful too, because it's the release.
But then, have you ever had like those like 1 minute pees? Like
That's all?
You kind of like
I know
kind of
I've
like
had longer than that.
no, like kind of like the Austin Powers
Yeah.
scene, like where he's just like peeing forever, where it's come to the point where you're like, there's no more relief. You're just like
Let's
seriously,
do this.
like what the fuck, like when is it gonna end?
You stare at your dick like, dude, are we gonna do this or not? Like, let's finish.
And then all of a sudden you're done, and then like a new stream starts, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yes,
I was like,
I've been
I'm
having
done.
those a lot recently, like in the morning, because what I do is like I'll have like a glass of water before I go to bed, and it's like you think, oh, it's just a glass of water, no big deal,
Yeah.
but then you have to remember like all the other piss, like that was there already that didn't make you feel like you had to go pee. You're
Yeah.
like that was still there, but then add a whole glass of water. And then you wake up and you're like, oh my God. And like, you're like hunched over and you go to the bathroom and you want to go back to bed, but you have to stand there. And have you ever had the morning wood when you really have to go pee?
Oh yeah.
Oh, fucking A. I had to wait one morning rather, where I woke up, I really had to go pee, like really bad. And I kind of like hunch myself over and I kind of slowly walk over to the bathroom, and I had morning wood. And I'm like, okay, I'll wait a little bit for it to start to go, like, so where you're like half mast, right? Like, that's good enough.
Oh my God.
I couldn't even get there. Like, I'm sitting there, I'm like, what is keeping this bastard up? Seriously, I started thinking about stuff like, okay, start thinking about like a war movie, or start thinking about football. Nothing. He was awake. He wanted me to know it. And I'm like, that was the morning that I seriously considered getting into the shower and just going.
You do.
It was so bad.
Oh my God, that's fucking funny.
Oh, and then finally, like after a while, like I turned the cold water on the sink, and I just kind of run my hand under it, and that start to like that kind of got it to position, like got my dick into a level position to where I could like kind of lean myself over the toilet, and do like the Michael Jackson weird lean over, and be like, oh, okay, there we go.
Did you go woo, dude?
But that was another one of those long pees where like like when I started peeing, like the position, like the half mast, that stayed there the whole time. Like there was, so I had to hold myself up, like on the wall, and like and aim at the same time. So like after a while, you start getting tired. You're like, oh, come on. And then by the time you actually get in bed, you're like just kind of sitting there, like, well, I'm awake now. Are you happy, Dick?
Yeah, I mean that's actually a technique for people that are that have a difficult time like getting off of bed, is to drink water before you go to bed.
Yeah.
So like, because your body will naturally tell you like, hey, you gotta pee, wake up.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, it's I guess drink less water, Lonnie.
Yeah, maybe I should.
Yeah, but I've been having one of those where it's just like you pee and it's like over a minute and you're just like, I'm not getting any more relief off of this. Like can we stop now? And
are you one of those guys that when you go into a public bathroom you have to pee into the deepest part of the toilet to assert your dominance?
well, there's two type of men, right?
I don't know.
There's the ones that there's two type of men, I'm telling you. Like there's the one that have to go through on the center so you can hear the noise that, or if you're one of those that they're subconscious about the noise, then you go up
onto the wall of the toilet.
Yes. There's two type of men.
See, I pee into the deepest part of the water when I'm in a public bathroom, and when I'm at home, I pee on the wall of the toilet.
I tend to do both. Like I change.
Why are we talking about this?
I have no fucking clue.
It's interesting,
I don't know how we got into this. Like, I mean, girls don't have an option, right? They just go to the.
Yeah, well, they do
just
have
the-
those devices like the funnels. Have you seen those?
Yeah, that's fucking nasty
Yes, it is
though.
because you have to like wipe more, don't you? I hate that Christelle's not here because I would ask her. I would just throw her into the seat and have her tell you. But that seems like it's just so much more work afterwards because they already have to wipe because it's not like a direct stream like you and I have unless they're like, God, this is really getting into some. But
Maybe we should just leave it at that.
if everything's tucked in really tight, I guess you could say, then they won't have that much of a problem with the stream. If there's a little bit of, not excess, but there's a little something coming out, then you're gonna have to wipe, right? Why would you get one of those?
Oh my God, Lonnie!
Just for the convenience of peeing while you stand up?
I can't believe that we're talking about this.
I guess that would be good for like public bathrooms that are nasty. It's like, well, then I'll risk, getting a little bit more mess so that I don't have to sit on that fucking seat. I just hover. How many sheets of ass gasket do you use?
Just one.
Or does it depend on the bathroom?
Well, I mean, the bathrooms at work are pretty clean, so I just use one. But public bathrooms, I procure not to use them, except for urinating.
Emergencies.
Yeah. So, yeah, like, but I mean, if I have to, like, let's say I'm like, I really like have to, I usually put double.
Oh.
Like I put two and two, and then I kind of like do like the eagle position.
Yeah, it's hard though, isn't it?
It is fucking. If you don't have good quads, man, your legs are shaking and shit. and then if you do that, because there's smaller space between your butt and the water, you take the risk of splashing yourself.
Yep. Well, you've been to Aldofra, and you remember how humid it got there?
I didn't go to Aldofra.
Ever? You didn't go to Aldofra?
No.
Okay. So Aldofra is basically like this big oasis out in the middle of the desert. And because of that, it's a lot more humid than all the other parts of the Middle East.
Oh, God.
So
a humid desert.
So not only do you have the scorching heat of the Middle East, you have humidity. One day, I think I may have told you this. One day I woke up to go to a flight, but it was in the afternoon, and I went outside, and it was just so fucking brutally hot outside, and I looked at the temperature because they had a little thermometer right outside the dorms, and it said 115. So I'm like,
Jeez.
Okay, that's hot, but it's not necessarily like, it wouldn't make me feel like it was, because I've been in Al Udeid when it's like 125, and it still wasn't that brutal. I'm like, okay, so we go into base ops, and they said it was a little over 80% humidity. It was a little overcast. It was 115 fucking degrees and 80% humidity. That's worse than fucking Louisiana.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
I mean, that's basically like you walk outside and you're drenched. And I remember out there they had a bathroom that they had just built, and there was 3 stalls in each, like 3 for the men, 3 for the women. There was no urinals. They just had them out there as like an excess bathroom because there was a bunch of people on that base. Well, this bathroom that they built had no air conditioning, and they put sheet metal on the roof. So basically, it was like magnifying the heat. And this bathroom, it was basically an outhouse because it had no plumbing. So you're pooping into the ground. So all that heat was baking all the shit and piss that was in the ground. And I remember having to go in there because I really had to take a shit. And I walk in, and it's just this rancid, terrible, awful, ungodly smell. And so I just put my shirt up over my nose. Like, so now I can smell my deodorant, right? So I'm like, okay, it's not so bad, right? It's not so bad. And the toilet was clean. Like, they had just had somebody come in and clean them. So I'm like, okay, so I got to sit down. But the problem was, like, you know, like when you're really sweaty and you sit down on a toilet seat and you, like, do that slide or whatever. Dude, it was fucking terrible. And then, like, the smell, and then it started mixing in with the smell of my armpits. And shout out to the guy that was listening that hated my basic training story from last episode, but I'm going to give you another nasty one. I mean, it was so bad, like when you see when it's hot outside and you can see like the heat waves like rising from the ground. It was like that, but like I'm looking at that shit going, it's not just heat, that's heat and poop. Just like floating in the air. It was just so terrible. It's the worst shit I've ever taken. There was no relief. Any relief that might have been had by actually getting to take a shit after having to go to the bathroom so bad was immediately taken away by this terrible, awful heat.
Oh.
I can't believe they would make an outhouse in the middle of the fucking desert.
I mean, what else are they going to do?
Not
Build
put
an actual
sheet metal
restroom?
on the top of the roof?
So it went from smelling like a turd to smelling like a turd ready to go on a date.
It smelled like the aftermath on a battlefield with a bunch of shit covering it.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I did tell you about the guy that the Kurgi that went into the porta potty on the tarmac, right?
No.
Well, okay, for those of you who may not have heard in the episodes where we had described the Kurgi airfield, we shared the commercial airfield with the Kyrgyzstan government. They had an airport at Manis at Manis Air Base, and they would have commercial airliners come in. And it was usually like Chinese, Russian, Kyrgyzstan, Kyrgyz airliners. And they were smaller airplanes. But they had a couple of porta potties out on the tarmac. You remember those, right? I had to use one once. And I remember being up in the cockpit. I had just finished up with the checklist and everything. And we're just getting ready to taxi out and go take off. And the pilots and I are looking outside, and we see this guy get off the plane, walk over to the porta potty, because apparently their planes don't have bathrooms, which is understandable. They don't have a lot of money. He goes into the porta potty, but their plane hadn't started engines yet, and this porta potty was directly behind their engines. This guy this guy goes in, locks the door, and he's in there for a good 30 seconds. They start up engines on that plane, and down goes the porta potty. And blue liquid just starts flowing out of there. And you see the side, and it had fallen door first. So this guy's stuck in there with all of this shit and piss in the hot weather, just all over him.
Shut up.
And someone quickly saw it, and I think even I'm pretty sure our pilots called Tower and let them know. But this poor bastard, like they had to lift it off, and when he got out, obviously he's covered, like he looks like a Smurf now. But he's got chunks and stuff on him. It's like, oh my, and this guy can't go on that plane. You know, they're not going to let him on there. So not only did he miss his flight, but he's covered in piss and shit and blue dye.
Oh my god. And he looked like a Smurf.
Dude, I would have... Oh, you see, because it's not our country. If it was America, he could have sued the shit out of that airliner. No pun intended.
Oh man, that's nasty. Okay, let's not do any more gross stories, shall we?
Oh, but they love them.
Oh, fuck, dude.
I was going to do some stories from basic training, water survival, and POW. I don't know how much we can we actually talk about POW? Like all the stuff that happened?
I don't know.
Do they give a shit anymore?
They probably do.
So it's probably not a good idea to talk about everything that happened there.
No,
No,
I don't think so.
It's not a good idea. Well, it would ruin it for people that are preparing to go into it.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of good stuff. There's a lot of
Yeah.
good stuff that you learn that I don't want to ruin.
I mean, I could share my Gormal Pile story.
Go ahead, do it.
Because I mean, last podcast you shared the guy that, like, essentially your version of a Gormal Pile.
Yeah,
Like mine was a little unstable. Like his name was Malcolm.
of course it was.
I can't remember his last name, but dude, you want to talk about a guy that was just fucking creepy as fuck.
There was a few of those, but select few that had the real creepiness factor.
The best way that I can describe him is have you ever met like the quiet kid at school that would just talk like
Random
he'd
shit.
be like not random shit, like coherent shit. Like, for example, ask me, "How's your day today?"
How's your day today?
Yeah, I went with my mother the other day, and we saw a big rat.
The fuck?
That would be his fucking answer. And that's the thing. Like I would get paired up to this guy to do like the dorm guard
You got paired
duty.
up with them, yeah.
Dude, like, I swear to God, I would be like, okay, like, what's up, Malcolm? Like, and he'd be like, hey, and he would just like look at just fucking stare at his book and whatnot, and I'd be like, all right, well, go ahead and do your round, and he would just look at me and be like, oh yeah, like my mom and I went out and like we did this and stuff, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go do the round for us.
Wow.
Like seriously, dude. Well, you remember that end scene on Full Metal Jacket?
Yes.
When he's just like, I am in a world of shit.
Yep.
And like slightly before that, he was just showing like signs of him just like about to derail.
Yeah.
When he's like there, like, everybody hates me, Joker.
Yep.
Like you could tell the guy was just not right.
Yeah.
This is how Malcolm was, and
Yeah, but I felt for those people, man. Like I actually tried to talk to those type of people.
Well, he got well, me too. Like I'm definitely gonna be nice because in the unlikely event he shows up with an AK-47 and starts shooting people, then I want to be that guy who looks at it and be like, hey, buddy, remember when we were doing dorm guard duty?
Please don't shoot me in the head.
And he ended up getting recycled, right?
Yeah.
And you know how in the end you get kind of like a debrief. You see your TI for the first time as a fucking human being.
Yeah.
Like he tells you like, okay, tell me what you guys got away with. What did you do? And we were all saying like, oh, like for me, like I told him like, yeah, I never wore black socks. I wore white. I never used the strings thing that you're supposed to do, like
the blousing straps.
Yeah, like I never used those. I just fucking tucked it under my boots and like just pulled on it.
Yeah.
And it was like stuff like that you're telling them. And then we were like, hey, but we got a question. And he's like, what? And I was like, Malcolm, like seriously, do you guys just like hire people to like see the dynamic of the group or something?
That's such a dick question, man.
No, but we were all curious about that because it's like there's no fucking way in this world that there can be a kid this fucking dumb.
There's no way that a recruiter like met with this kid, talked with this kid, and said,
Exactly.
"Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, you're good." And he passed like all of his MEPs and medicals and all that stuff. The psych, they do a fucking psych evaluation on you for crying out loud.
A pretty intense one too.
And all of a sudden it's like we're asking. We were like, no, we're sincere. Like, do you have like do you put Gorma Piles essentially like in flight just to see like the group dynamic? And he's like, no. He's just like straight up said no.
Like, I'm pretty sure you're full of shit, because
I'm like, really? And it's like, no, we don't.
well,
I'm like, fuck, man, I don't want to. Do you imagine this kid was like is a fucking pilot now or something like that? You're like, ah.
I don't know about you, but there's not a whole lot of stuff that I like all the regular stuff that happened through basic training. I don't really remember. Like, I can remember, like, you know, like, kind of, like, what happened. Like, yeah, like, you know, after breakfast, we did this, you know. But I don't really remember, like, any conversations. I don't, you know, not too many of them, really.
No, you kind of blocked it off,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah,
I
you
did
did
the
a
same
lot of
thing.
autopilot when you're in basic training. In fact, I mean, like I've said this before, after, like, week 2, I kind of enjoyed some of the stuff that we did in basic training. You know, like, I kind of enjoyed getting up, going to breakfast, doing PT, you know, and having a normal day, right? I hated going to class because I knew I was like this close to passing out.
I know.
But the rest of it I just don't remember. But there's some of it that, you know, like, that stands out in your mind. Like, there's certain things that happened. And, you know, like the kid with the hair, you know, that was one. But there was another one where I told you about the guys that got in trouble, right, in week 6, like, right before we graduated. We had just
I don't know.
been declared honor flight.
I don't know if you did it on the podcast.
Okay. Well, I'll tell it again real quick. I won't do the whole thing, but we had just been declared honor flight. Like, the superintendent had come down to our dorm. You know, we all stand at attention and everything, and he comes in and he says, you know, congratulations, you guys have been selected as honor flight, you know, for this whatever, like, the squadron. And we're days away from graduating. And I was dorm guard monitor. So I was the guy that made the schedules, right? For all the dorm guard stuff. I was not the guy with whom to fuck, because I would put you on consecutive shifts if you piss me off, right? But I also had to do push-ups and stuff like that if these guys, like, say one of the TIs came in and he asked them a question while they're on guard duty and they
Right.
didn't know, my ass got woken up and I did push-ups, because apparently, you know, my guys, even though I had nothing to do with it, didn't know their stuff. Well, one night I wake up, like I said, days away from graduation, and I see it's one of the blue ribbons. You remember those guys? Like, they're like the senior master sergeants and stuff.
Yeah.
And they got
yeah.
that blue tie around their hat, which means they're like one of the head, you know, drill instructors. He's like, Airman, wake up. I'm like, oh, okay. So I get up and I stand at attention. He's like, at ease. He's like, I just need your help real quick. I'm like, okay. He goes, don't put anything on. Just come here. So he walks me around the dorm, and he's got his flashlight, and he shines it on somebody sitting in a chair, passed out. It's one of the dorm guards. And it just happens to be our flight leader.
Oh.
And I'm like, fuck me. And he's like, you know who this is? I'm like, yes, I don't remember his name now, but that's Airman so-and-so. You know, he's our flight leader. And he's like, really? Okay. So he walks around the other side of the dorm, because it was separated by a wall, right?
Right.
Walks around the other side of the dorm. Directly opposite of the wall to him is the other guy, who happens to be one of the other leaders in the group. You know, like, I don't know what they called them, like the guys right below the dorm leaders.
Yeah, it's just flight leaders, right?
Yeah, something like, whatever.
Yeah.
He's the other dorm guard on duty. He's asleep in the other chair. So there's nobody at the desk.
So how did this training instructor got in?
He unlocked the door.
Oh.
I don't know. All I know is I got woke up in the middle of the night, and I'm like, and I tell him who it is, and now I'm thinking these motherfuckers are gonna get me sent back to week 1. You know, and he's like, so I tell him who it is, and he's like, I want you to know. He's like, he goes, well, first he asked me, he's like, who's the dorm guard monitor? And I'm like, shit. I said, that's me, sir. And he's like, don't worry. He goes, you're not in trouble. He goes, did you guys? All I'm gonna do is ask you the question. You have these 2 guys for this time. He goes, it's about 3 a.m. I'm like, 3 a.m. Yeah. He goes, do you know where the schedule is? I'm like, yeah. So I walk over to the schedule and I said, yes, these 2 guys are on dorm guard duty right now. And he's like, okay, that's all I need to know. He goes, you're not in trouble. He goes, go back to sleep. I'm like, okay. So I go back in bed and he wakes them both up. Not harshly either, real quiet, so as to not wake anybody else up. And they walk out of the dorm. They were not there the next day.
Ooh.
I don't know where they were. I don't know if they went back to, the beginning of basic training. But all I know is they weren't in our squadron anymore, or in our flight.
Damn, yo.
And I remember our TI had selected a new dorm leader, and I think he didn't ask me any questions, so the guy must have talked to our TI. But I remember panicking because like my parents were out, like they had come to San Antonio, and like all this shit is running through my head. I'm like, I'm gonna have to tell them I'm not graduating. It was just so shitty that he's like, don't worry about it. You're not in trouble, But I think of it now, like they had to call their parents and their girlfriends and stuff like that and tell them, hey, guess what? I can't even see you. Like, thanks for coming out to San Antonio, but
yeah, that's pretty messed up.
Yeah.
I'm so fucking glad I don't have to do that shit anymore.
Yeah.
I did it once, and once is enough,
Yeah. Like I've said before, I would do survival training again because it wasn't so bad. And I actually kind of enjoy being outdoors. That's just one of my things. And I liked learning, about all that kind of stuff. And basic training wasn't so bad. If you told me I had to do it again, I'd be okay. POW training, on the other hand, fuck that shit. Never want to do it again. It was just such a... It kind of revealed who you were in certain ways. But...
yeah. I mean, it's...
Did you cry?
It was really eye-opening. I did cry.
I cried. Yeah. But I was super tired and stuff like that. Not like it's an excuse, but I cried.
No, it was pretty. It's a pretty. It was very emotional.
Yeah,
I will say that. It's kind of like whatchamacallit. I guess the best way I can describe it is at towards the ending of Saving Private Ryan when Tom Hanks pulls Matt Damon, he just goes, "Earned it."
Yeah.
It's just like, fuck.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it was tough.
Well, I think of V for Vendetta when I think of POW training, like when he held her in the cell and stuff like that. Because I think like he shaved her head, he put her in a cell, and he gave her shit for food, and I think that's not so bad. Like,
it's a little torture and stuff.
They had the like dunking her head in water and stuff like that, but and then spraying her with a hose, and delousing her. Honestly, that's not so bad.
Oh my god, you're such a fucking sadist.
I'm just saying, it's not that bad.
No, it is bad. Think about it. Like you're saying it's not bad because you've had training on this.
Yeah.
But most people.
They don't. Crack just like all of us did in the beginning.
dude, just think about teenagers. Fucking take their cell phone away, and it's like the end of the world.
Um,
Imagine if you take more than that.
well, that is an unfortunate thing. Like how much kids now they have zero consciousness of the real world. You know, it's amazing. Like I can't talk to high schoolers now. There's no way. Their perception of reality is so fucking far gone. It's ridiculous.
I know. I mean, I love it. Like, I like to talk to my or take my high schoolers just to like be critical thinkers.
Yes.
Like I force them to do like assignments that are just like out of the fucking blue,
Yeah.
and most of them get it. Did you hear that?
Yeah. What was that?
fucking cats, man. Fucking hate him. I can't look. Fucking neighbor. I swear to God, she has 18 fucking cats.
What? That's the exact number?
Yes.
Oh my
That's
god.
what I've been. That's what I've been told because the lady that cleans for me cleans for them, and that's what the lady said. They have 18 fucking cats.
Once you pass 3 cats, you have a problem.
Yeah, and then one of them just had a litter, so it's like,
Dude,
and then
what the fuck?
right now it's another one's in heat. So
Anyway,
Mexicans, dude, I'm telling you, Mexicans.
well, with teaching your kids with like critical thinking, one of the most important things you could ever teach a kid, right, is to think critically. You know, to use your brain. You know, think outside the box. Don't think like normal people. You know, and one of the things that I'll always go back to is Bill Belichick, when he goes to visit draft prospects, when he really likes a kid, like from a certain college, he'll give him a test, like a written test. And he always tells him, you know, like there's no right answer. There's no wrong answer. Just answer. And he goes, I'm just looking at what you say to see if you'll be a good fit for our team or not. And they're not like, you know, what's 2 + 2? You know, it's like stuff that you have to think about, like what would you do in this situation? You know,
Right.
and he says be completely honest, because I don't care. You know, like whatever you want to answer. Because one answer is not going to tell me who you are. The entirety of it is going to give me a piece of who you are. And most of the time, like you'll see some guys like, yeah, you know, Bill, he gave me some test or whatever, you know, and I've never had that before. You never had some guy. And then you see some guys, they're like, that was fucking bullshit, you know, stupid test. And then you look at it and like, that guy's not getting on the team. You know, but
and they usually don't, right?
well, the whole thing was, and he's been asked, and you know, like, why do you give, you know, draft prospects a test? You know, like on top of giving them like a workout and stuff. And he's like, because I want to see who they are. He goes, most of the time, I'll get my answer if they just accept taking the test. You know, like you already know who they are personally because you spent time with them, and if they agree to take the test, then you know who they are. And he says, like, I don't want somebody that's going to come onto my team and just do what I tell them to. I want somebody to come to my team that I ask, what in this sport do you like to do, and what do you think you do well? It's the same thing he does for trades and free agent acquisitions and stuff. The first thing he'll ask a guy is, like, what do you like to do? Do you like to come in off the edge, or do you like to go up the middle? Do you like to do slant routes? Do you like to do wheel routes? You know, what do you like to do? And then he'll test them out, be like, all right, let's try it out. You know, let's see what you can do with it. And if they don't do it well, he'll tell them, be like, you know what, you kind of suck at that. Why don't we try this one?
Right.
You know, like you look like you'd be better at this. But it's instead of like going like a coach going up to a kid and saying, you know, you're really fast. And you're not that strong, so we're going to have you do this. It's like, well, what do you like doing? What do you think you're good at? What do you have success with? You know, instead of just telling them what to do and having a fucking clone. That's not how you build a team.
Yeah.
You know, I think the one thing about, like, especially with teaching kids, like coaching kids rather, is, you know, it's not so much building self-esteem. I don't think. I think it's a lot of, like building the team and showing them the value of working with others, and then using your brain. I think that kids being part of sports is one of the most important things you can do for a kid. That's why I think like soccer, football, baseball, I think those things are awesome for kids.
Yeah.
You know, you require them to have someone else depend on them other than themselves. You know.
Yep. Yep. I agree. That's why I do it.
And there's my rant.
There's your rant.
I had to have one this show, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I can't be the only one. So I think we're on the 2-hour mark.
Are we? God, I'm having so much fun.
It's 2.5 right now, but we did have some breaks in between and stuff. So
yeah, we'll cut it down to like 2:15, I'm sure. We don't want to make it too long because apparently you guys don't fucking listen. No, actually, they still listen. You guys just go back to the long ones and you wait to download those because you're. I know exactly what they're doing. Like that 3-hour podcast that we had, that didn't actually start getting downloads until the rest of them, of like the last couple of weeks, had been downloaded. And I get it.
Oh,
I get it. So what like they're doing is they're like, oh, I only need 2 hours. I'm just gonna listen to this one. You know, and then they'll go back and be like, yeah, you know, I got to go back and listen to this one. And you guys probably section them out like an hour here, an hour there. I listen to podcasts too. I get it.
No, yeah. I mean, like, Joe Rogan started 3 hours, dude. Like I said, I still have 1 hour on the Ben Shapiro
Yeah,
one.
but that guy is legendary with his ability to keep content rolling. You know, Joe Rogan's had a lot of experience.
Yeah.
What is he on? Episode like 998 or something?
Something like that.
Yeah, we're on 29.
They got a ways to go.
You know, I like to think of these as milestones because I think they are. Like, you know, once we reach 30, I'll be all happy. You know, like our next episode is 30. You know, that's pretty cool. 30 episodes since November.
Shit, dude. Like, we've been doing it for less than a year.
Yeah. And we have almost 2,000 total downloads this year.
Yeah, hooray.
Yeah. So as much as I bag on you guys for not emailing, once again, I'll tell you, you guys are awesome for downloads. I will say that. You know.
Even the cyber robots that
it's possible.
The fake ones.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll leave it at that. I'll do my outro. And did you want to say something afterwards?
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, this episode of the Nothing Better to Listen To podcast can be downloaded on iTunes, Google Play, or directly from shoutengine.com. Go to our website at nbtltpodcast.com and leave us a review if you like the episode or if you have something to say about the episode. Our bumper music is provided by bensound.com. Be sure to like us on Facebook. You can talk to us on Twitter at NBTLTpodcast. You can always send us an email with your questions or comments at mail@nbtltpodcast.com. We'll still look at our Gmail account, which is nbtltpodcast@gmail.com. And the podcast can also be found on Reddit at reddit.com/r/nbtlt. And also, important, go to our YouTube channel. All you got to do is go to YouTube, type NBTLT into the search bar. You will find us. We'll be adding videos on there that we talk about, just like we do on the website. We'll be adding them into our playlists and all that stuff. So you'll be able to see and follow along on the videos that we're watching and talking about on the podcast. And that's probably going to do it for us.
Yeah, hit that fucking subscribe button.
Yes, hit the subscribe button. All right, people. We will see you in 2 weeks.
Oh, and
go ahead.
And we might have Oh, I'm sorry. I fucking lost my train of thought.
Okay, well, I do know that we do have a guest he's just not scheduled yet on my side. I don't know about your side. I do have one guest scheduled to come in, well, not scheduled, but ready to come in, and he's ready whenever we are. I work with him, but he is big into conspiracy theories. He's big into, government lies and all that stuff. Really interesting guy, has a whole lot to say. The only problem that we're going to have with that is that we're going to have to fit it into 2 hours. So we'll have to come up with the kind of, not a script, but like a layout, like an outline of how the show is going to go. And we're not typically used to that. We're kind of used to, just saying whatever we want. So once I actually get everything all settled out, I'll get him on, and he'll actually be right next to me in my home.
That's funny.
So it'll be nice, clear, and you'll be able to hear it well, and it'll probably be the same format that we had with Sir Jag, but just a little bit more prepared. So, which is another person that we have to have back.
So it's a little bit more formal than.
Yes.
Formal. Yeah. Okay.
But we'll make it fun. Well, it's not going to be like a normal TV interview. It'll be fun. We're going to do it our style. We're not going to do it, boring ass interview. But did you have somebody that you were thinking of?
No. I was thinking about something else. I'm trying to get some teachers and posters and stuff set up for us, but it probably won't be till like next year.
Yeah. Well, the one thing that I did want to talk about with that is that, yes, there's a lot of things that we want to put out. One of the other things that I wanted to do with that is that when we start making T-shirts, merchandise of any kind, really, I was thinking about doing a little contest. We'll kind of decide what it's going to be. Zumi and I have been kind of mulling over a couple of things. Like drawing a picture or something like that of a dick. But or something different. It'll probably be something different. But doing that in the, like, if you win the contest, like first, second, third place, you guys get a prize, and it'll be either a T-shirt, a mug, sticker, something like that. But the other thing that I did want to talk about is that we have our Patreon account all set up, and the Patreon account is basically for donations. If you feel like making a donation, go ahead and do it.
By now.
Make a donation to us. We're trying to make this something that is a little bit more professional, a little bit more smooth. I think we've done a pretty good job on all of our improvements, especially sound quality. I mean, if you go back to episode 1 and listen to this episode, you should notice a dramatic change in our quality. But mostly we've always been concerned, number one, with the quality of our conversation, not necessarily the quality of the sound. But we do try to improve those things. But yes, go to our Patreon account. You can just go to Patreon, and I will set up a link. I'll put it up on the website, and we're just looking to get some donations so that we can get better equipment, start making merchandise, and make this into something a little bit more special.
Yeah, it's gonna be the Help Lonnie and Simi Quit Their Day Job Foundation.
That would be fucking awesome.
We have to worry about. We might even go back to the weekly format podcast.
Oh, I would definitely go back to the weekly format if this was my job. I don't think I could wait until Saturday to do our recordings. And I think that one day we're going to make this live. And I need to start setting up like Periscope, like at the intro, like when we're getting prepared and everything, because we do have some good conversation beforehand. But
so it's in the near future, fellas.
Yes, and we are working on it, believe it or not. Just remember, there's only 2 of us. So, we are the interns. But anyway, is that going to do it for you? All right, then.
Do it for you. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. All right, Peace. See you guys later.